Joining me on the G-Sportz Zoom interview today, the University of Louisiana Ragin Cajun running back coach, Jabbar Juluke. Appreciate you coming on the Zoom with me, Coach. With everything going on with the coronavirus, I know you're staying in quarantining, but also trying to get ready for a football season. Just kind of talk about what you've been doing throughout this pandemic, as far as like communicating with your players and kind of staying safe at home.
First, I appreciate you having me on, G. It's an honor to be on with you. We have been working with our young men that are currently on our team, getting them ready for practice, having weekly Zoom meetings, getting prepared for the season and a new normal as we're looking at it right now to make sure that we are safe, that these young men will have an opportunity to go out and have a season, but in a safe and proper manner. We have great leadership with Coach Napier and our athletic director, Dr. Brian Maggart. They have put together a plan. I think that's going to be very beneficial to our young men and the people of our community to make sure that we all are safe and out of harm's way of this virus.
2020 just been crazy altogether in itself. I'm kind of ready for 2020 to be over with. But I've been seeing a lot of college coaches getting on social media, respecting some of their players' platform as far as like speaking their mind on the movement that's going on with the Black Lives Matter and just what's going on in the world as a whole. Kind of share with me and the people that's listening about some of the conversations you've been having with people in your running back room, and also just kids that you've coached in the past, and just anybody that's in the building over there as well.
Well, my thing is I'm not a big social media guy, and I don't like to try to go out and try to browbeat somebody on my beliefs and how I feel about certain things. But internally, I'm definitely supporting our young men and all their endeavors. I'm also trying to educate them on things that are important. I think police brutality, reforming the police department are very important. But I also try to remind them of other things that are very important as well that we can't let skip past the holistic approach of what's going on, right? So I think that we need to have reform in education. Okay, we got to do better in our educational system and helping our young men and young ladies to educate them to make sure that they have the proper tools to equip them to go out and fight in the world of business or whatever their endeavors may be. Secondly, we need to have reform for housing, right? The proper housing things that need to take place for people to live better, get out of poverty-stricken environment, reform the employment opportunities, raising minimum wage, make sure we have the good health insurance for everyone that is able to have it, to make sure everyone has it. And then finally, using their voice of voting. It's one thing to have a movement, but we can't let the movement become a moment. We got to make sure that we capitalize on what's taking place right now and making sure that our people are getting the necessary things that they can have to be successful. So I get it. I'm for the marches. I believe in that protest. It's good. But I'm also about actions, making sure that all the young men are registered to vote, make sure that they have absentee voting for the young men that are out of state. Those are things that are very important for me to relay to my young men and the people that's on this team. And I think
with the success that y'all have had so far at UL these last 2 years, you just don't see it in college football. In y'all second year at the helm, you got the most wins in school history with 11. You've been to 2 conference championships in a row. You got 3 guys that was drafted this past year's draft. You got some more guys that's draft prospects coming up in the future. Just talk about the success y'all been having, man, with you, Coach Napier, Coach Sell, and the rest of those guys on that staff these last 2 years. And what do you think that stems from having that success so fast in your second year?
The leadership. Coach Napier is doing an outstanding job of putting people in place and delegating responsibilities and not micromanaging guys and making sure that we all are accountable. He has a plan, he has a vision, and we have to go out and execute it. Coaches always put in the kids first, whether that's cost of attendance, whether that's meals during the week, whether that's game travel, whatever it is to make these young men feel comfortable where we are and what we're trying to get accomplished, and that they can believe and trust in what we're doing, and that they'll run through a wall for us. You know what I'm saying? So that's important when you have great leadership. Okay, in leadership, you have to have a vision, and I think Coach has a really good vision of what he wants things to look like. And I'm on board 100%. I agree with everything that he's doing and the way that we're going. And not only just having great leadership with the staff, because I think Coach has hired a really good staff, and we have some camaraderie, we have good chemistry, but the leadership on the team. When you have good leadership on the player level, it's very important. That's going to transfer over to the field. When you have your players holding each other accountable the same way that a coach would hold someone accountable, that's how you're going to be able to um, have a good football team, and not just winning on the field, but you're going to win off the field. And you're going to take care of your teammates and making sure that they're home when they're supposed to be at home, when they getting proper rest, eating the right things. All of those things play a part in the success of the organization. So that's why our leadership is in the right direction, and that I'm excited about where we're going to be going. Whether we win 11 or 12 games this year, we win 8 games, we win 9 games. I think the leadership and the direction that the program is going in is headed in the right direction.
Kind of talk about how this all happened for you to get to UL and be able to come back home. I know you was at Texas Tech prior to coming to UL with Cliff Kingsbury, who was one of the best offensive minds in our game. Just talk about that whole process, because I don't know if you had a relationship with Coach Napier prior to coming to UL, but just talk about what went into, how that all happened, and being happy about you being able to come back home and recruit Louisiana like you've been known to do.
Well, I knew Coach Sale more than I knew Coach Napier. Coach Napier and I knew each other from when he was at Alabama, and Coach Burns, who actually coached me in high school. When I used to go there and speak at Alabama's coaching convention, Coach Napier and I knew each other in passing, but we never had a really good relationship. My relationship was more with Coach Sale than it was with Heath. So when they got the job, I kind of figured that Coach Sale would be going with him, and he and I talked about it, and asked would I be interested. I told him yes. To have an opportunity to come back home was a goal of mine. My wife was going through chemo while we were in Texas at Texas Tech. That was a struggle for us without having a lot of family there to support us. So for us to come home and be 2 hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours away from home, get someone to come in and visit us and see people that we knew was a great opportunity. The people in Texas and Lubbock, Texas were unbelievable. They were amazing. The university was very supportive. I enjoyed my time there. The medical doctors at UMC were very helpful and very pleasant to be around. And we are very grateful for those people and what they have done for us. So we wanted to get back home. This was an opportunity to come, to be with a person that I thought had a vision that lined up with the vision that I think a program should look like. And then when you have an opportunity to affect your community, I think it's more important when people you can walk into a school and everybody know who you are, and they can trust you with their young men that's coming to their school. So that was a very important deal. And I had great relationships with the people, high school coaches in Texas that I recruited in the Houston area, which I'm still recruiting in the Houston area. So it was a win-win either way around. And then Coach went on to the NFL, Coach Kingsbury it is, and I'm happy for him and all of his new endeavors. And in this industry, it's about relationships. And he and I have a great relationship, and I'm excited for what he's doing with the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm also excited about what we're doing here at the University of Louisiana.
Kind of talk about the similarities or maybe even the differences between Coach Cliff Kingsbury and Coach Napier. They're very young, innovative coaches in the game right now that I think are on the upward spiral as one of the best offensive minds in the game. Talk about some things that kind of some similarities or maybe some differences between the two.
Very smart men, very intelligent, understands football at a high level, know how to game plan, know how to work to the strengths of the players that we have. That they both are very innovative in what they're trying to get accomplished. But they're different at the same time because Coach Napier has a program as a whole, but Coach Kingsbury was more of a offensive guy, and he was trying to juggle the both and allow the defensive coaches to do what they needed to do to be successful. Excuse me, and still have a uh, outstanding offense because he put out a great offense every year, put up numbers every year. So they're different, but they're similar with being as intelligent people that I've been around in this game of football. And I learned from Coach Kingsbury, and I'm continuously learning from Coach Napier as well. And I think that the mix of both, for me, makes me a better football coach as well.
You was named running back coach of the year this past season. It just seemed like every room you get, you produce. I mean, even going back to Louisiana Tech with Kenneth Dixon, you had Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, Elijah Mitchell these past year, Trey Regis, Raymond Callie that just got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know you played safety in college, am I correct?
Correct.
What has happened along your coaching journey that has allowed you to be able to go to the running back position, a position that you didn't particularly play, and get the most out of these guys? And, you know, guys are getting drafted, guys are rushing for a whole lot of yards, and they're giving you a lot of credit along the way. I saw what Raymond Callie said when he got drafted. I mean, he had a long paragraph message to say about you, about, you know, how you taught him how to be a pro and hold himself accountable and do things the right way on and off the field. What have you learned along your journey, man, to be able to get the most out of these kids and have them produce the way they have produced in your coaching tenure?
You know, I tell people I'm a football coach. You know, I don't have a title of whether I can coach running backs, receivers, defensive backs, linebackers, D-line, any position. I believe that I have enough intelligence to try to learn that position. So, coach is coach. You don't want to put yourself in a bottle. If I were to put myself in a bottle and say, hey, Coach Holtz, I only can coach DBs, I'd never be in college. You know what I'm saying? So I'm forever grateful for Coach Skip Holtz at Louisiana Tech for giving me an opportunity to coach running backs. I originally interviewed for a defensive backs position with Coach Holtz because he was getting a new staff and he wanted a minority high school coach from Louisiana. And I was his guy. And, you know, when I went to the interview, it was for defensive backs. But Kenneth Dixon and Tevin King were two young running backs that needed mentoring. Okay. And that's a thing that I take really high pride in, making sure that we have a relationship both on and off the football field. And I believe coaching is about trust. If they trust you, they're gonna do what you tell them to do. And trust is not always given. You have to earn others' trust, right? So I have to earn their trust, and they got to earn my trust. And how do they earn my trust? By making sure that they're accountable both on and off the football field, right? One of the very first things that I ask my guys is when I go in the room, how can you impact the team without the ball in your hand, right? So everybody wants to be the running back. I got the ball. I want to run the football. I want to score touchdowns, right? But there's only one football, only one running back to play. So how do you affect the football team? You can make an impact in the community. You can make an impact in the classroom. You can make an impact on campus. You can make an impact in the cafeteria. You can make an impact on all special teams. I just gave you 5 things just now, and they never touched the football, right? So we got to figure out how they're going to make that impact, right? And expectations are expectations. We got to make them reach those expectations, right? Our job is to teach and demand. The player's job is to uh, execute and perform, right? Prepare and perform. It's what their jobs are to do. So we got to marry up with one another and make sure that those things line up. The success that I've been around some really good offensive line coaches, and some really good offensive line players that have helped us along the way in our development as a running backs crew. You know, we rushed the ball really well at Louisiana Tech, LSU, of course, and at Texas Tech. We had 2 guys rush over 800 yards when I was at Texas Tech. So then we come here. Now we got 3. You know, that makes it more interesting because we want to make sure that it's competitive and that guys are getting along. We're in a society that's about me. Well, we don't think about me. We got a small we with a big team, right? It's not about me. It's about the team. So how you impact the team again, and those things are very important for us. And now, my wife and I, we bring the guys over for Thanksgiving dinner. We have them over on the weekends whenever they want to come. We don't want to monopolize all of their time, but we want them to know that our doors are open for them to come and visit with us and get a home cooked meal. And the biggest thing, G, that I try to do, man, I try to keep it real. I stay true to who I am. I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm not trying to say that I'm a great football coach and X's and O's. But I want to be known as a person of values and loyalty and honesty and realness. And I'm going to keep it that way until I die. This is my 26th year coaching football. So I love what I'm doing, and I'll continue to do it. And our success is not because of me. Our success is because of the program and the organizations that I'm in, where it goes down from the offensive line coaches to the offensive coordinator to our head coach to the tight ends coach. You see, everybody's working together to make it work. Because if you try to stop the run, you got to go cover our receivers. If you try to cover the receivers, you got to stop the run. So you got to find a way to figure out what you want to do and how you want to pick your poison.
But Coach, you dealing with 17, 18, 19-year-old kids that's used to being the man in high school. A lot of these kids these days, especially with social media and the rankings and all of this, they coming in with their chest out and they thinking they that guy. It can't be that easy for you to sit these guys in a room and get them to buy in right away. What are some tactics that you are using to get these guys to buy in into your philosophy of being loyal and being able to impact the team other than when they have the ball in their hand?
Gee, it's going to sound crazy, but it is easy. When you have good young men that believe in what you're telling them, and it doesn't hurt to have prior guys that have done it already, right? If you have a Kenneth Dixon, a Boston Scott, Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, Darrell Williams, Justin Stockton, Trey King, Elijah Mitchell, Trey Wagers, and Raymond Colley. Those are guys that have done it. So it's not something that I'm trying to reinvent the wheel. What makes you think you're better than these guys? These guys bought in. We believe in what the product is. We believe what the system is, and that's hard work. That's being accountable. That's being the best on the team as a group collectively. We're only as good as our weakest guy, and if our weakest guy is not good enough, then we're not good enough, and we hold everyone accountable in that deal. We got a little saying in our room, we built different, right? That's not just because we're good football players. We want to do the difficult things. The difficult things we do immediately, and impossible things take but a second longer. So we want to go out and be the best at what we're doing, and we want to make sure that people know us. We every time you look at a running back, no matter what the jersey number is, playing for the University of Louisiana, they're going to play hard. They're going to be hard to tackle. They're going to be good in the pass protection. They're going to be able to run their routes, all right? And we're going to take care of the football, first and foremost. We take very much pride in taking care of the football. We lost one fumble in 2 years, so we definitely taking care of the football. And ball security is job security, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't carry the ball, come sit next to me. And everyone knows if you're not being held accountable, we tell them you can come get a baseball cap and a clipboard and come take notes and learn how to be a ball coach. If you don't do what we say do, you know what I'm saying?
So I kind of want to rewind a little bit and talk about your high school coaching journey. I mean, you had some stops at some places like Douglas, Brother Martin, St. Aug, Walker before it turned into Landry Walker. Then you ended up, coaching at Carr, and I think it kind of took off from there. And people don't remember. Well, I just found this out maybe like a year or two ago that you was on that staff with Frank Wilson. I mean, that's crazy. Y'all was on staff together, and now you guys are looked at as two of the best coaches that ever come out of Louisiana, in my personal opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion. Just talk about the adversity you went through in your high school career, and that when you got your head coaching spot opportunity, and then you was able to capitalize, and then leaving high school to go to college at Louisiana Tech, and how hard of a decision was that?
I go to Brother Martin. Mark Sanji hires me, right? Um, his receiver coach just left to go take a plant job and everything. He needed a wide receiver. I was coaching receivers at Brother Martin, and he hired me, man. It's crazy, right? I don't know if you ever been to Brother Martin. They have the Ridgely Center. And if you
Mm-hmm.
walk around to the back of Brother Martin, or the back of the Ridgely Center, there's a field. I think they might have built some buildings on it now. But we sat on the side of the sidewalk. And he interviewed me on the side of the sidewalk, sat down, took out a dip, put it in his mouth, and said, "Hey, tell me about yourself." And before you know it, he hired me within the next 2-3 days. Right, so I was there for a year, and I coached basketball as well at Brother Martin. And
Now, what year was that?
1999.
Okay.
1999. So 99, kids that we got in school were Ryan Brock, DJ Augustine, Courtney Wallace. All those guys came to Brother Martin because I was there. Right, so I was able to get those guys in school, and St. Augustine was like, "Hey man, you can't be bringing those guys over there. You need to come home." So they hired me at St. Aug. I stayed there for 2 years. I knew that I wanted to be a head coach. I didn't know how much growth that I can have at St. Augustine to do that. So I wound up going to O'Perry Walker with Frank. Frank and I played ball together at St. Aug, and he hired me. And I was teaching at the YMCA, James Singleton YMCA, with Dave Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to practice, and we got there coaching, and he was still short of a coach. I go to work the next day and say, "Dave, you need to come coach, man." Dave was like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna be a principal." I was like, "Man, stop acting crazy, man. Get your butt out here and come coach some football." And that's how we all came about coaching. We all frat brothers. Dave plays Frank, so and it all came about that we all worked together. So and then I got the job at Carr, you know, changed my life forever. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good opportunity. I inherited a program that had a good foundation, right? That had good structure, like a house with good bones, right? And now it was time to upgrade and change some of the appliances, change some of the furniture that was inside of the house, and do some things a little more different. I was a little younger. I had a lot of energy than Coach Watney did, and Coach Watney did an outstanding job of having that program the way that it was into a program like that. So in year 3, Katrina hits. All right, we about to have our best team that we thought we were going to have.
German McGee, them, huh?
Yeah, they're going to be seniors. Yep, they're going to be seniors. They're going to be in the program for their 3rd year. It was kind of going in the right direction. It was ascending. And then Katrina hits, and you got to come back and basically start all over, right? But everything happens for a reason. I think with us having to start all over, really had to redefine who we were as a coaching staff and how we would go about our business on a daily basis to make the organization be one of the best in the state. And Bryce will tell you, Bryce played for me, so Bryce saw the beginning of the process. He understood what it looks like. And then when he became a coach, we were inseparable because he was always there. Everything I did, I had him doing it with me because I knew one day he can eventually take over and take the program to another level, which he has done. So, we just had a great opportunity. And no matter how good of a coaching staff that we've had at Carr, we had better young men. We had better football players. We had young men that would go out and believe and trust in what we were doing. And
Nah, I remember when you got hired at Carr. I remember I was at Southeastern, and Brennan Harris and Norman Randall, two close friends of mine. When you got hired, if I remember correctly, it wasn't a popular hire.
Nope.
Among the Carr family. Because when you talk to people from Carr, they always want to keep the Carr family tradition going. They want a Carr guy, and you necessarily wasn't a Carr guy. Just kind of elaborate on the difficult, like how difficult that was taking a job, knowing that they wanted a Carr guy when you got hired, and how you was able to just change the perception of, look, I know I'm not a Carr guy, but look, I'm gonna get this thing rolling and get the job done.
Everybody want their own at some point, right? But if you look at most successful programs, um, other than John Curtis, uh, it's not always an alum that has taken the school to different places. And I always would convert back to my alma mater, St. Augustine. When we had our best success, we had Coach Otis Washington, who is not a St. Augustine grad. Right? Everyone is afraid of change because it's the unknown, right? They don't know what to expect or how things are going to go. And what I did to make it easier, um, I hired within. I hired car guys because it's their school. I'm just happen to be the one steering the ship. So, so I wanted to keep the values and structure that was already in place. And who better to tell that story than guys who are actually from car that know what it looks like. So I was able to keep most of those guys on board. Um, T. Howard, that's my man. He never even coached football before. He was a basketball coach. He was like, Coach, you want me to coach football? Yeah, come on. Know why? Because you care about the school, you care about kids, you're going to be loyal, you're going to be dedicated. And that's why I was able to bring him on. And now look where it's gone. So um, it was difficult. I'm not from the West Bank, I'm from the 7th Ward. I got to travel on the West Bank. And like, you ain't from here. It's a different world in Algiers now. So, but because of my personality, I was able to fit in. Like I don't have a problem. I'm saying I can go live in Iraq. I can go live in Mexico. I'm going to find somebody with some commonality, with something that we have in common. So it was hard, but it was worth it. You know what I'm saying? It was worth every struggle that we may have had to get our guys there. And once they saw uh, the direction we were going in, it was like a breath of fresh air because it was totally different than what Coach Watney had been doing. And how can you come and do something totally different than what a coach that's already been having success? That was like, wow, he's doing something different, And again, I just hired good guys around me that were from Carr. And I think Nick Foster's doing the same thing at St. Aug right now. He's hiring guys that went to St. Aug to instill it. And you have that, oh, you're not from Carr. You went to St. Aug. Carr's the real purple and gold. St. Aug is not the real purple and gold and all those different things. But we were more similar than people would have imagined.
Inevitable every year. Every time I wake up in the morning and Bleacher Report hits my phone, I got an alert, this kid's transferring, this person in the transfer portal. It's become free agency in college football. And I think, in my personal opinion, it's because a lot of these kids are picking schools for the wrong reasons. They got the wrong people advising them. I mean, the list goes on and on. I can write a book about recruiting and why kids choose schools for the wrong reasons. What's your take on, so many kids transferring, preferably from Louisiana?
I think the recruiting, everyone wants to look at the logo and not look at the programs and not look at who is in charge of the program, who are the people that's there, right? And you're going to get, if you don't do your homework on the program and the men that you're going to be around, you're going to 9 out of 10 transfer, right? So you got to make sure that I ask my recruits all the time, would you come to this school if you didn't play football? That's the questions that they have to ask themselves because it's the 40-12 rule, in my opinion, right? You have 52 weeks in a year. For 12 weeks, you're going to play football. What are you going to do for the 40 weeks? Okay? If you go 5 states over and it's a 9-hour drive to get home, and all of the guys that's in that area, that's from that area going home, what are you going to do? You're going to sit in that dorm room and you're going to get homesick and you want to be around some family and you want to be doing things. So most kids and families, they should not only make this a 4 to 5 year decision, this is a 40-year decision. Okay? Because what happens once you're done playing football? What happens when the air goes out? You don't have football anymore. What are you going to have? The community in which you grew up in is where you're going to make majority of your living. Okay, and you have to know that uh, when you do go to these bigger schools and go far away, they're going to recruit more 4 and 5 star guys. You're not going to always be the big fish on the team. So you got to figure out what's your niche, what you want to do. You got to know that. I hear guys talk about, oh man, this school's showing me some love. You know, love is a strong word, right? You know, you could really like someone. When you're in love with something, it's something totally different, right? So you got to make sure that you're around genuine people, right? And not just trying to hop around to the next deals and doing and get to the next job and have some stability, right? And I don't get Bleacher Report, but there's over 5,000 kids in the transfer portal. You do the math. It's not enough scholarships. And then when these guys get in transfer portal, where are they going to go? You know, you better have a plan beforehand. So um, it's a tough situation. And transferring has always taken place. This is not something that's new. It's just not that you can put your name in the portal without telling someone. That's the difference, right? So you got to make sure that parents and coaches have to understand it has to be a good fit. It can't be a circle and you trying to put a square in it. It has to be a square going into a square and it has to fit because just because he's good for your team and he comes to my team and we already have 2 players that's similar to his style of play. Now he's third on the depth chart. And now, man, he's not playing. You let me, you done messed me up, coach. Oh, well, you just can't take a school. You know, you have to be able to make sure that kid can thrive in your organization, both on and off the football field. So, and I'm going to say this, man, I might get in trouble for it, but I'm going to say it. Stop living through your kid. Whether you're the parent or you're the trainer or the friend of the family, and you trying to say, well, I didn't do this in my career, I'm gonna do it. No, don't live best carefully through those kids, man. Let those kids be kids and trust. You got 123 Division I football programs. Everybody can't be wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just trust what's going on. And guess what? Sometimes we miss. Sometimes guys are late developers. Some guys that I give you a great example of it, man. Boston Scott walked on at Louisiana Tech. He's in the NFL now. You know, nobody offered him a scholarship. We offered him a walk-on opportunity. Coach Sloan and I offered him a walk-on opportunity, and the kid took advantage of it. He wanted to be an engineer, and he went to Louisiana Tech to be an engineer and wound up playing football, and now he's in the NFL. So don't be afraid to be rejected. Some paths has to be different than others. You might have to go the long way than going straight to it. Some guys have been blessed with different talents, different size, different speed, different abilities. I'll give you another example, man. You can go Google his name. His name is Derek Rogers. Right? Derek Rogers played in a band at St. Aug. Never played football. Derek Rogers goes to the military, playing flag football in the military. It's a scholarship to Arizona State and get drafted by the Miami Dolphins.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What year this happened?
He graduated in 1989, so he was a year before me. So I want to say he was in the military for at least 4 years. And then went to college. Yeah. And went to the NFL.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's if it's meant for you, it's gonna be for you, man. You know, so you can't force it. I just want people to know that you have to trust in your abilities, and everybody won't like you. You know, you got to date the girl you're dating. You can't say, I want this one over there, and she doesn't know your name. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that you stay on your course. Everybody's path is different. So don't live through your kids. Don't try to force a round peg in a square hole. It don't fit. It has to be a good fit in what you're trying to get done. That's just my opinion.
You preaching to the choir with everything you just said, Jab. You're preaching to the choir. Coach Jabbar Juluke, UL running back, associate head coach on a Zoom call. Coach, I know I got a good bit of friends that coach in high school and have aspirations of becoming a college coach one day, or kind of getting the opportunity to be a college coach one day. What advice would you give to any young coaches out there that have those aspirations to be in college one day, and the steps they need to take to be able to make that happen at some point in their career?
It's funny you actually, G. I'm writing a book about it. Right? So I don't want to give all of it out. I want people to go read the book and learn some different things about how you can actually become a college coach. It's not easy, man. You know, it's simple economics, right? Supply and demand, right? You got to be able to have the supply to match the demand. You got so many guys trying to get a job, and it's not a job to supply. Right? The demand is high, but the supply is low. So you got to be able to find your niche. Don't be afraid to go anywhere. Don't be in it for money. You know, you can hear guys have worse war stories than I have because I never was a graduate assistant. So some guys were making $1,000 a month, but now they're making millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't about the money that during that time they worked their butt off. They put their head down and put their blinders on and just worked and were where their feet were, you know, and just continuously grind and get it done. So if this is something that you're inspired to do, man, you have different avenues, relationships with coaches, knowing that you can have intellect to be able to hold the conversation, be able to recruit, be able to know the computer, be able to set up things, to get things going. Manage your room, you know, once you get there. And you have to be able to display those things in the high school. When I come to the high school, I may be there recruiting for players, but I'm also going to recognize well-organized position groups. I'm going to be able to recognize well-organized practices. You know what I'm saying? So you just there's a lot of things that we can do. As of right now, we're on chapter 8. So there's a lot of stuff that you're going to be able to get out of it. But in the short version of it, man, it's very difficult, but it's not impossible, right? So you have to find good mentors that's going to be able to help you along the way and give you good advice about how to go about doing things, appearances, making sure that you look the part, that you're going to be able to go sit in somebody's living room and tell those people, you know, hey, I want your son to come play for me. But, you know, how, why? You know, so those are the things that I would try to, best advice I would give to them. But
a lot of different coaches I talk to that have those aspirations to getting in college is I've heard stories of some coaches telling me, you know, they don't want to go in as quality control. They don't want to go in as a GA. You know, they kind of want to come in as a position coach, so to speak, and kind of like, you know, they don't want to come in, you know, at the bottom of the totem pole, if you will. You know, what's your take on it? Because I've heard the stories. I mean, I remember Dave Johnson, who was at Florida State. I remember him saying when he was at, I think, Millsap, he slept in his car.
I want $1 million, G. Give me $1 million before I go coach football. To those guys that say they don't want to do that, they don't want to coach college football.
Right.
You know, you have different stories, right? My story is different from Dave. I'm fortunate I didn't have to go through that, right? And I was able to get a position coach immediately, right? Again, it only take one person to like you. So that's why you have to be patient. But like I said, and you'll see it in the book, if you really want to do something, you're going to do whatever it is to get there. You're going to make whatever sacrifice it is to make that sacrifice, right? And it's hard to ask a 35-year-old man that's making $75,000 to go make $1,000 a month. That's just what it is. And, but that's might not what that might not be what the organization need from you at that time, right? And if you, that's what, if this is the industry you want to be in, you have to be able to take that risk, and don't be afraid to go to really small towns, and out of your comfort zone a little bit, right? So, um, I'm not a rapper, but I've seen the rap industry guys talk about when they used to sell CDs out their cars. You can't just walk into it and become an instant millionaire. It doesn't happen like that. Everyone had a starting point. Some people's starting points are different in regards to monetary salaries or whatever, but at the end of the day, somebody has a baseline of where we all start at, and you have to be willing to be patient to get through there, right? And that's just something that young guys got to deal with, man. And I didn't get my first coaching job in college till I was 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be prepared for the unexpected, and don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, right? Key thing that I would say: one, don't be afraid to coach another position. Don't be afraid to take less money, and don't be afraid to leave and go to a small town, right? If this is what you really want to do.
Right. And what about the stigma that when a school or college is trying to hire preferably an African-American coach, they're coming in to be just a recruiter, if you will. I've heard a lot of high school coaches tell me they want to be respected for their football mind. They don't want to come in as just, oh, I'm just a recruiter and that's it. When we get in, when we start game planning, I have no input. My voice is not being heard. Like, what's your take on that thought process from a lot of coaches that aspire to be in college?
If you can't recruit, you can't coach. You can think you have a brilliant mind and go out there and coach a good, and you ain't recruited no good player to come in there and coach. I'm only as good as the players that I coach, right? I've been fortunate to coach some really good running backs, but you have to be able to recruit. Don't. That's not your deal, right? Um, I always say the empty wagons make the most noise. When you speak, have substance. Don't just try, I want to say, man, I would do it this way. No, it doesn't work like that. I can't come to your media institute and say, hey, man, you need to do it this way, G. I got to start, I'm underneath you. You're the CEO. You're the owner of the company. So
Right.
how can I come to your company and tell you how to run it? You're bringing me in because you think that I'm an important part of what you want to get done. So you're going to put me in my area of what you think I need to do that's best for the program. And that might be recruiting today, right? And then as we keep going, to show your worth, show your value, right? But don't just be up in there trying to, wow, I would do it like this. No, you know what I'm saying? You got to be a team player, all right? And your time will come, but you got to make sure that you're prepared for the time when it comes, right? Don't stay ready. Don't get ready, right? If you have aspirations of being the offensive coordinator, you better be in those game plan meetings like you are the offensive coordinator, and you putting your input in there, right? That's one thing that Coach Napier does. He gets input from everyone, right? But he still have his vision and his ideas of how you want to get done. So as an extension of him, we all have to be thinking that same way. And when we think in that same way, we're able to be the best that we can be.
Real talk. Coach Juluke, man, I appreciate you joining me for the Zoom today, man. We got to do this again sometime, bro. Stay safe. Hopefully we have a season so we can see y'all kind of finally get it done this time, man. And y'all third year, this must be the charm, man. When that Sun Belt, bro.
That's the plan, man. And like I said, we got a good organization, great leadership, and I think we're going to be in the right direction. I appreciate you having me, bro. Anytime I'm available, man. I want to get on the big sports talk. I want to talk to all three of you guys, and we just, like, we're in the barbershop. I know I don't have no hair, but I still can go to the barbershop and talk some crap with some people, and make it work.
Gotcha, man. As soon as the pandemic over and things we kind of get back to some normalcy, man, we're gonna definitely make that happen, man. Appreciate you for coming on, man. Stay safe, and we again sometime, Jab.
That's a bet. Tell Lil G I say what's up, man.
Look, he's still talking about that picture, man. You know he got that picture hanging up in his room, bro.
That's what's up right there. He gonna be too long away. I'm gonna be retired by the time he come out. I'm gonna be retired, G. I don't know if I'm gonna be. How old are you? What, 5?
No, he's 10 now.
Oh, he's 10.
Hey.
So I got 10 years. It'd be all right. So 8 years. I might still be around.
Might be.
That's a bet, man. Hey, I'm rocking with G-Sportz. That's what I pulled to say.
Yeah, man. Let everybody know who you're rocking with.
Yeah, I'm rocking with G-Sportz all day. Let's get it.
There it is, man. We signing off.
Peace.